Hey everybody, and welcome to the Drafting Offers Podcast, the podcast where you get to vote for each episode's draft champ. We're realtors from Southern Ontario, but this is not another real estate podcast. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, catch every episode on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on social at the Drafting Offers Podcast. Here are your hosts, Brad Warner, Scott Morgan, and John Fielding. Hey everybody, welcome back. Another episode of the Drafting Offers Podcast. Episode 25, I believe we are at right now. John, Scott, Brad here with you as usual. It's a steamy one outside, huh? We're getting into like late June now, and we're getting, August temperatures. Coming up to Canada Day too, and I'm kind of upset that I'm the only one who dressed for the occasion. I was just saying to you guys, this is the one shirt that I wear maybe once a year, and it lives in the bottom of my drawer. I don't wear a whole lot of red or anything, which is kind of why I threw the little Canadian tuxedo dinner jacket on top of it. But where's your spirit? Where's your Christmas spirit?
So what you're saying is when you hit your Marie Kondo, I'm gonna purge. You look at that one, you go, no, that's the red one. That's the Canada Day one, and
that's the one.
And
that's the one. I just need the one.
You're supposed to wear blue until the 24th. We're celebrating Saint Jean Baptiste Day until the 24th.
How far east do you live?
And then it's Canada Day. Come on.
I see. Oh, of course.
Have some respect.
Sorry, je suis désolé. Whatever.
Whatever that means.
Back. I wonder what the weather's like in Montreal.
Just an oversight, John. Was focused more on the draft picks as opposed to my attire. So I went green.
Well, I like to stay on brand, and we'll discuss that a little bit coming up.
Absolutely. Before we get into some of the nuts and bolts of this thing, we got to talk about last week's winner. And I hate when I'm the one saying it. And it is team 2 last week. It was actually down to the last day as per usual. And I think it was within 2 votes of each other between John's team 3 and my team 2. So I think it was like 54% of the vote. I think John had 44% of the vote, which leaves Brad, if you're doing the math, with 2% of the vote. And if we have to say, it's just Brad who voted for himself in that one.
Seriously,
Yeah. Got zero love with the hip waders and bug spray.
Those were good picks. I think Brad's people were out fishing.
Your people
did
not. Your people are not focusing in on helping you out.
Okay, well, I would love to take this opportunity to do a huge congratulations then, because Bryson DeChambeau getting the win at the U.S. Open, that's huge. That's a winner.
Really playing up this heel attitude, eh?
What did you think, John, of Rory missing those putts down the stretch?
Assuming that happened the way that you're explaining it, I don't know. I didn't watch it. Anybody
talk about a knee knocker?
I'm more concerned about the fact that I lost my own draft. I mean, I picked the topic, and I should be an expert on this kind of stuff, and I did not win my own pick here. So, congratulations, guy in the middle.
Thanks. It's funny because on my side, I'm the guy on the left there. So.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everyone's views, I guess, are different. But back to the golf, though. That was you just started rooting for Rory coming out of the woodworks and thinking he's finally going to get that first major in 10 years. Look at Johnny taking a sip, just taking a seat while
taking a break.
Golf. But he did what he does, and that's kind of let it go and choke at the end of.
Speak for yourself, though, Scott. I'm more of a Bryson guy to begin with. I have a history of, I don't mind rooting for a live guy if I have to.
And you love a guy who can put some science into the game and rip big drives and just be a dork.
I appreciate that. I heard him one time, they're giving him a hard time about he talks about the science of the game and, putting his golf balls in salt water before he plays. And I've heard him say I have to do all this stuff because I'm not as good as the rest of the guys. And I'm like, I can relate to that. I got to work a little harder on my golf game because everyone else swings better than me. So
what do you want me to say about that? I think you have
nothing.
Swing. Is that what you're looking for?
No, not at all. But anyways, big congrats to Bryson. The Open's coming up super soon. It's not a golf podcast, I know, but by the end of July, middle of July, we'll be all out of majors. So let's see if Rory can do it then. So this week, I actually have some trivia for you guys. I don't know if you're game for that.
Yeah. Of course, I'm always
your number 2. Things are getting spiced up here, and look at Brad putting in some work.
Putting a little bit of work in. Tuesday night, I was sitting on my couch and drummed up some questions for you guys. Some of them are going to be softballs, and some of them are going to be a little more market related. So I can just get right into it if you want.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's see who's got the real estate.
So to be clear, that we're not I'm going to be doing Price of Right rules. You know, it's closest to everything. Mostly has numbers, and it's going to be John versus Scott. First one, complete softball. I'm just trying to get us into it. Question number one: the video game The Sims. We've all played it, I'm assuming.
Never played it in my life.
When was The Sims first released? If you guys have a pen and paper, write that down.
Just for all the listeners today, there's zero preparation of this quiz other than I'm going to have a quiz. So we didn't know.
I
Okay.
had no idea this was coming.
Any of this.
The
So, yeah.
format, but hey, let's
What date do you think The Sims was created?
the year.
The year. You got to write it down.
Okay,
And I'll give you 10 seconds. Okay, John, you go first.
2003.
2003. Scott,
Oh, wow. I wrote 91.
91. Winner is John. The year is year 2000.
Oh,
He was very, very close.
I thought that was showing up on one of those original computers.
One of the most popular video games of all time, and made by EA, actually.
it's in the game.
Which in the game. I always thought
You said The Sims. So I guess, Scott, you're probably thinking Sim City, like the old kind of OG version of The
Throws again,
Sims
man.
was Sim City or Sim World. Like I remember this on various Nintendo platforms. But I think The Sims as a game, like as an app or whatever it is, I thought that was a little bit newer.
PC, I thought of it back in the day. Anyways,
I think of it as PC. It's one of the best-selling games of PC history.
Okay. All right.
one.
All right.
Okay.
So 2000.
Okay.
All right.
Number two. We're going to get into some harder ones here.
Yeah,
Okay.
real
Okay.
hard-hitting stuff. This is what
I
the people
think
want.
you guys might know this one, but according to moneysense.ca, how long does an average Ontario resident live in the house that they bought first? Their first
Their
purchased
first
house. How long on average in Ontario does someone stay in that first house?
Okay.
No,
You're not going to
I'll give you 10.
You're not going to be just to prove it, I guess. but-
Yeah. Okay, John, you go first.
5 years.
5 years. Scott,
I said 3.5 years.
winner is John. It was 4.5 years.
4.5.
So he beat you. So he got you by 0.5. But yeah, the average Ontario resident, when they buy that first home, is only there for just under 5 years. Does that surprise you guys?
No, I figured with your turnover's quicker, and with the 5-year usually fixed rate that you're probably locked in. They're probably going, oh, okay, it's time to renew. We're not going to stay here.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Probably
that's
right
kinda
around
my-
the 4-year mark. They're probably like, should we move out of here?
Yep. You start outgrowing it. You start having to put money into it, and then you kind of go, you know what? I think it might be time to renew this mortgage somewhere else. Anyway,
And it's crazy when you're a first time home buyer how much your life changes in that first 5 years. You don't realize it, I think, with career, relationship, family, like things can change so much once you get in your first house. So yeah, it's not shocking to me at all. Okay, so right now we're out John with 2, Scott, although wins all the drafts, nothing.
yeah, and the tables have turned.
Yeah, I was actually sent these questions to John earlier. Okay, so
The fixed
question
job,
number
man.
3.
Okay.
According to Tarion, who most people know Tarion Warranties, what percentage of brand new houses are Gen Z? What percentage of brand new house purchasers are Gen Z? And Gen Z is 1996 to 2012 birth dates. How many people from 1996 to 2012 are buying brand new houses? Okay, John, you're first.
30%.
30%. Okay.
That's
Scott,
high. I said 15%.
15%. You're both high.
I thought that would even
Really?
be high.
Scott got that one. 8%
Yeah.
of the people that are 8% of the people that are buying brand new homes are Gen Z. 25 over 25% are like new Canadians, I think they called it, from what I read on Tarion though.
I mean, I can kind of understand that. Although the reason I said 30 was because I've seen some of the lineups at these new release, like these builder releases for these new properties, and they look like younger people. Like that's what I'm saying. They look like now. It's also possible that there's younger people and there's parents and things like that. But when I see who's in line, it kind of looks like everybody's younger than me. So that's kind of why I thought maybe it was a slightly higher percentage.
Then you throw in the fact, though, that this is Durham region and there's only maybe a few construction projects at a time. You go into the city where it's mass, like large, tall story buildings that are being put up everywhere. So
Mhm.
That's interesting. No, I figured it would be, and the conversation seems to be that demographic is just kind of admitting they're probably not going to own a home or try to own a home. They just want to rent and go travel and
That's true.
listen to mumble rap. I don't know.
Obviously, it's growing. Last year for Gen Z buyers, they went up 3% of these new homes. So it was only 5% in 2022. So
Wow.
Mhm.
So it's 2-1 is what you're saying. How many questions
2-1.
do you have? Can I ask you?
I have 8. Are we doing okay? Are we
Yeah,
getting through this?
no,
Okay.
we're doing good. Yeah, just need
Yeah.
to know if when I'm buried or when I'm dormied.
Okay. This is according to Treb data that we all have access to.
Okay.
What is the average sale price for detached homes in our markets, as in the three of us? So I put the line at Ajax and went all the way to Shannonville.
You want to come up with an average, like one average number, or the average of all of
Average
these different
number,
cities?
average purchase price for our entire market. So Hastings County, Durham region, Northumberland, everywhere in between,
Oh my
from
God.
where you guys are servicing for the most part and where I'm servicing for the most part. What is the average price for a single family detached home? Okay, I know this one's tough because
Yeah.
it's big. It's a big area. All right,
Big
John,
area.
you go ahead.
779.
Right? Okay, 779.
That's my guess. Average for like.
I won't show it because it has all my picks and stuff for
Sure.
picks. But I wrote 805.
805, and the winner is, you guys were close there.
Yeah.
Scott is the winner.
Oh,
The average
What was it?
sale price, 833,000.
yeah. I
Yes.
didn't expect it to be that.
I know
high.
yours
That's good.
is significantly lower, but
Yes.
but you also have less homes, right?
That's
Like,
right.
you talk about
Yeah,
your
fewer of
showings
them.
and your number of listings. We have
Yeah.
far more here, so ours would have
Mhm.
a higher weight.
So I'm
Mhm.
thinking about all of the detached bungalows and stuff that I see in my neighborhood that are all in the sevens, and a lot of them are older, but they are detached. And so I kind of thought like there's such a higher percentage of those compared to larger 2-story homes in this area, and this is a pretty big, pretty dense area right here where I live. So I was kind of
Mhm.
thinking somewhere in the high sevens. So yeah, that's a good question.
Well, appreciate it. This one, hopefully, you'll like too. So we're 2-2 now.
And sorry, you said you had 8 questions. Do you have a 9th in case we're tied, or are we just going to leave it as tie? You don't care.
No, I don't. I can come up with one.
You have to come up with one where we have to choose a number, and it's again closest. I guess that's
Right.
Wow.
Okay, so this
early for this.
question five, it's incorporating the question we just did. So same market, same single family detached house, but what's the average sale price of houses built 30 years or more ago? So houses that are 30 years or more old. So I took out everything newer than 29 to 0 years, took them all out, and this is just 30 plus year old homes. So you consider the average sale price of the house for a single family detached home in our markets is $833. Okay. What is it if it's 30 years or more old? John, what do you got?
747,000.
Okay, interesting. Scott?
I was 775.
This number. So what were you again? 7? No.
Did it go up?
No.
I'll give logic behind that, but
670,000. So like John was a closer
by
670,000. So that's quite a drop off for older homes compared to newer homes, which makes sense. But is that bigger than you guys thought it would be?
Well, that's a little
obviously
bit lower, lower than I thought. Obviously,
bigger difference.
Yeah, it actually is. But I was thinking about all Whitby, Brooklyn, where a lot of houses are a lot newer and they're a lot bigger and more expensive. Even North Oshawa, bigger houses, more expensive houses. But some of the older houses are just like basically what I was saying before. The justification for my last answer for the last question was because I'm in an area that's fairly dense and has a lot of detached bungalows. So I guess I just sort of thought it was a little less than what I had guessed before, but yeah,
I should have thought about that. I guess having the time pressure was a little bit much.
Always in
for
there.
Me. Because obviously your market, if you're getting into the newer homes that are bigger, your prices are going to be higher. So cutting that out lowers that number. Mm-hmm. Where I also I put Pickering in there for some reason, but you said Ajax, right?
Yeah.
If you get into some areas in Pickering, and some areas in Ajax, they're larger, older homes, but the square footage is huge. So
Yeah.
because the numbers were going to be dropped, I thought it wouldn't go by as much. But with Pickering not being in there, that was a miscue on my part.
We're close here.
Right
So
on,
we're
yeah,
3-2.
a tie.
3-2. Okay, so
Okay.
number six. This is according to Korea. This is Canadian wide. They put out quarterly. Yeah, thank you. They put out quarterly reports of like forecasts for the rest of the year. They do this consistently. It's all public information. According to Korea quarterly forecasts, how much of a percentage increase do they think the sale prices on houses will be by the end of 2024? So from now until the end of 2024, how much do they think the prices will increase?
5%.
Percentage increase, 5%.
5%.
Scott?
That's been the average over the last 40 years for increase. I think it's going to be slightly lower. So I said 3.5%.
Okay.
There's no right answer here, as in we don't know, right? But according to Korea, John is going to be right, and because they are predicting a 7.8% increase in sale price.
I know I was the closest, but I was still way off. Like I didn't think that was even close. I thought 5%. I thought I was actually kind of estimating a little high.
I need
given
to
what I've
dig
seen,
in
but
just to see what's happened to start the year again, because I guess that's also Korea's across the board as opposed to just our market. But
That's right.
yeah, because we had a blip, but I'm starting to see more inventory every day, like mass amounts, and a lot of people with nice homes that are priced pretty good that are not getting the interest. So it'd be interesting to see.
They must be putting more stock into the rate decreases and how it's going to affect the market. But I don't know about you guys, but since that last rate increase, it's not like I've seen a ton more buyers out there. We're just seeing more inventory
more
coming
listings. Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
Now the good homes are still selling.
Yes.
The homes that are priced well or show really well are still moving. And certain price ranges that are popular are still moving. It's just, again, comes down to our strategy. Okay, well,
And
it looks
on these-
like I'm dormant here. I got to go 2 in a row just to tie. So I'm hoping to be able to do that, just so Brad has to come up with another question.
On the forecast, by the way, random, just another fact here. The forecast for next year from the end of 2024 to 2025, they're actually forecasting 7% again.
wow.
Another 7% increase. So
Cool.
we'll see. We'll see what we'll see. We'll come back to this. Okay, so this is question number 7. This is just for Durham region. So this is just for you guys here. So I went on Treb and I just put region and I just put Durham. Okay.
Durham.
The average days on market for single family detached homes in the last 180 days for solds, only for solds though.
Okay.
I know one region I just did. It's just the whole one area I did. So now I'm
whatever Durham region is, you guys know better than me.
Yeah, but I haven't looked at the numbers lately. I don't know.
I know. This is tricky and it changes.
I only care about what my listings are on the market for.
John?
11 days.
number. I did 14.
14. Winner is Scott.
Really?
Oh,
The average days on market for the last 180 days in Durham region is 17.
I almost did 18 too, but I thought, you know what? I thought the area that I was, anyways.
Yeah.
Okay. I was only a week off of that answer.
This is, John, if you just want to hand this to me just so we can make Brad sweat here, that would be cool.
Yeah, right.
You want me-
Can I tie? Okay, let's see. Let's see what's happening. Is this 7 or 8? That's his last question or
This is
second?
8. 4-3 John right now.
Okay.
I did have to keep those two separate from my area to your area because the average days on market for Hastings County, which is my area, is 40.
So the average would have been like 29.
Yeah.
I wonder how many months of inventory you have.
That's wild, right? Okay, so this is the last question. This is a random one too. I sandwiched them all together. This one's not so serious either.
Okay.
But this is, when was the game Monopoly invented?
Ooh, boy. Monopoly. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I tried to keep it somewhat real estate. Monopoly, The Sims,
Boardwalk, all that stuff. So this is Monopoly. I always thought it was about Manhattan, but I think it's about Atlantic City. I think that was the actual thing. What was it invented?
I'm not giving a history lesson here. I just found out the year it was made. All right. John?
1920.
1920. Scott?
Jeez. I did 1964.
The answer is John is closest. It was invented in 1909. 1903.
Wow.
Yeah. And technically it was called the Landlord's Game when it was first invented.
Landlord's Game. Yeah.
And then in 1930 it was switched over to Monopoly.
Did they play with pebbles?
Man, go to jail. Go directly to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Yep, that's pretty much a Landlord's Game.
I wonder what the landlord tenant board was like in 1903.
It was just a board. It was just a piece of wood that you would just whack your tenants with if they didn't leave.
Yeah.
That's the landlord tenant board. It was a board.
Lots of landlords out there wish we were back at those days, I'm assuming.
Well, maybe not the actual rents, though. It's only
we learned a lot.
So there you go.
Well, there you go. Look at Brad actually putting in some work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Nice win, John. Congrats.
That was a close one, but hey, that's okay. I like trivia.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for
froze again.
Playing along. Mm-hmm. All right. And I know, John, you had something you wanted to talk about today, too. I guess you guys have some sort of rebrand going on there.
We've been talking about branding, and we've been talking about, your own personal brand and marketing and things like that. And I go back a couple of years when it comes to marketing for me, just professionally. And I've been through some rebrands and things like that. But, Sutton Group, who Scott and I are members of, we recently went through our corporate went through a recent rebrand, and we knew it was coming because the company changed ownership. And so we thought, this will see some kind of rebrand or modernization. And it was more of a modernization than a rebrand. So some people were a little upset about it because it wasn't really significant. They kind of brought a lot of red into it, which was there before. It was red 100%. It was red and black and white, and now it's still red and black and white. I'm wearing the shirt. This is the old logo. The new logo is a little bit smaller and a little bit more clean. But a lot of people didn't really get it because it was so similar to the last one. But the only thing I could think of was look how many huge companies have rebranded very, very subtly in the last little while. TD Bank has gone from like a dark green, a light green. It's gone to very monochromatic. Pepsi has changed their can design a number of times. And every time they do, it seems like, wow, the can changed, like the logo changed. But it's all just to make things a little bit more modern. Burger King, I was driving down the street and they were taking down signs at a Burger King nearby because there's a new brand to go up on Burger King, even though it's almost exactly the same. But the question that I was going to ask, though, is does it really matter who a realtor works for? Does it matter what their corporate logo is? Does it matter what their motto is, or what kind of marketing they do? Because a lot of agents will use their own branding. I mean, mine is right here above my head. A lot of agents will use their own. They'll come up with their own logo and their own way of doing things. It doesn't really matter that the corporate is doing things one way and we're doing things a different way.
I think that's a great question. And I think that's something that we kind of talked about maybe implementing on our socials this year, was putting a poll up and just seeing, because we have our perspective of things kind of on the front line, but you wonder what are the general populace, or what are our clients actually thinking? And I think we should pose this question. We're going to put a poll out. So does an agent's brokerage mean anything in regards to who you select as your realtor? So does brokerage X or brokerage Y mean anything to who you are choosing? Or are you looking into that agent specifically and what they offer and how they present themselves and what they do with their socials, that kind of thing? So we'll put this in our Instagram feed, in our stories. We'd love to know just percentage wise what you guys think, because that kind of helps us in how we do our business too. So yeah, I'm interested to see sort of more of the rollout of what Sutton has to offer. I feel they were very excited to hit the ground running with a lot of changes around Christmas time when they took over. And then they kind of just showed, this is our new logo. You can implement whenever you want, and you can transition as fast or as slow as you want. And then everyone just went, oh, we didn't even have a say, or like, it just was like, here it is. And it kind of, like John said, a lot of things nowadays are almost being simplified or just monochromatic. And it gives me a little bit of like a Scotiabank vibe, a little left on the table almost. But if you don't know the full picture, then it's really hard to say whether something is great or not. So
there's so many options for real estate agents on brokerages nowadays. There's not just the big ones. It's kind of like a choose your own, what works best for you. So as long as that real estate agent that you're contacting to list your house has their systems in place and with their brokerage, it's up to you if it really matters or not. It is interesting because obviously the three of us, you two, are at the same brokerage. And I'm at, the big brokerage that it's really easy to tell. And for me, sometimes I like saying, when I'm introducing myself to someone, I don't have to say I'm a realtor. I just say I work at Royal LePage, and they know right away. Mm-hmm. And I like that part of it. But as far as like the brokerage goes, does it matter that much? I that's up to the general public. I would say, as long as on my end of things, all I'm worried about is making sure my brokerage can service me the best as a realtor. And I'm super happy with where I'm at, obviously.
And I think that's it. There's so much to this business, and you're having to do so many things on your own that your brokerage is now more of a support system, I think, than the marketing tool for you.
Yeah. I kind of had, when I started in real estate, I had an option to work with a bigger brokerage or a smaller brokerage. And I picked the smaller brokerage because it just seemed a little bit more personal, right? It wasn't just like a big corporate machine. It was actual people running the show. And that's kind of what I gravitated towards. But when I say, hey, it's John from Sutton, everybody's like, what is Sutton? Sutton is a place. Like Sutton is a town in Ontario. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people are like, oh, John from, I'm Mike from Alberta. Like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's a town. And so it doesn't really have a lot of recognition. Whereas I said, if I'm John from Remax, it would be like, oh, you're a realtor. So I don't know. I mean, I think Sutton has a little bit of catching up to do, but it can kind of stay in its little niche. It's sort of like I don't know. I don't know what Sutton's, other than 100% Canadian, is what our brand has always kind of been. That's sort of what they've leaned on. Other than that, is there anything that kind of pulls people towards that? Sutton has a reputation for good ethics and good leadership and things like that. But is that something that a client can benefit from, or is that just something that an agent can benefit from? And that's kind of the question, right? So we're working on behalf of our clients, for our clients, and working in their best interest. We just have to have something that supports our business. And I think while we kind of look around for different brokerages, I think the more important thing is to brand yourself and to have people choose you for you, not necessarily you for your brand, or sorry, not you for your company, but you for yourself and what you do in your personal branding. So that's just kind of, and then you can kind of, you attract like-minded people, and then it's easier to work with them and you get more referrals out of them. And so, that's just kind of my take on that.
I'm looking forward to seeing the refresh, the Sutton refresh.
Yeah, I am too. I'm interested in seeing the results of the poll to see if, like what John just said, I agree with, to see if there's difference in what the consumer is thinking. Yeah. But that's interesting. And what's very interesting is what you guys are going to be doing on the long weekend that is ahead of us. We're just around the corner from one of the best long weekends, in my opinion, which is the Canada Day weekend. So this is Canada's best draft. So this is going to be 5 different categories. We're going to have everything Canadiana. So one category from food, drink, or snack, one category from celebrities, and that can be very broad, places to go. Then we have Canadian athletes and perks of being a Canadian. So we can choose them in any order as long as we have one of each. I'm going to get right on to everyone's.
I'm loving this. Coming up with content for this was fun because you kind of start thinking about foods and you start getting into that long weekend mode.
And the other thing with that is this does play to Brad's ChatGPT, because you can look a lot of these things up on there. So it's not like he had to.
Did not do it.
This is all you. Oh, good.
Wow. No. I can't say that ChatGPT didn't help me at all with the trivia.
Can we go back to back? Probably not. It's going to be.
Let's see
again.
John.
No, it's not. It can't be. You have to do that again.
We're back. No, it's John. This is going to be the theme of the episode, which is Scott freezing 20 times.
Speaking of Sutton.
Speaking of internet, at the Sutton headquarters. Yeah, not even headquarters, the Brooklyn headquarters. Internet struggling. Struggle busting. But okay, John, this is your year for wins and for wheel wins, because you were just dominating that wheel. So you can choose the order here.
I don't know where I should go, because the last time I don't think there's any real method to it. I don't think there's any kind of good luck, but I'm going to stick with third. Like, I'm going to do the third pick. Scott can lead this one off and Brad will go second.
Okay.
Scott Brad John. 1, 2, 3.
Thanks. This
So-
is my first leadoff, and I'm very happy with that because one category here that there's some good ones, but there's one clear-cut winner, and that is in the athletes department. And world-renowned hockey player Wayne Gretzky, the great one, has to be on my team. Thank you, John, for this honor.
That's a 1-1. I wanted that pick myself.
Good.
I was really hoping.
I love hearing this.
I was really hoping
love
John was
hearing
going to
that.
make me number one pick, and I was going to take Wayne.
Yeah,
myself.
he said same as last week. I'm going second. Brad's taking Wayner.
Would have loved Wayne.
Happy to have him on the squad.
I think there's another really good athlete, but it's no Wayne.
There's a couple here.
I guess we'll find out.
I guess so. That was
Brad.
the athlete, not the celebrity, right? That was the athlete category.
Could be
That
either
was
or.
athlete.
Wayne.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, that one's tough. Okay, I'll go food then. And I'll go poutine. I'm
Good
going to go
one.
poutine.
Yeah,
You got to go with the
choice.
chalk picks, I think, right here. There's
You
the
got
big ones.
the ones that are going to look good on the draft. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
I think
no
so.
complaints there. I think we can actually just skip on to the next pick because that's a great
Yeah.
pick.
I'm taking my. I'm going to go with my favorite perk, my favorite benefit of being a Canadian. So mine is going to be the healthcare aspect, and I wanted to get that one on there because you never know. You never know what'll change. Things change province to province. Canada's a big country, and we've got a lot of different systems here. But I think the healthcare thing is kind of what makes us understand, like what makes people understand Canada. I think on the world scene, right? I think people understand us like, oh, you guys have healthcare that's like socialized essentially, and we pay for it in our tax. We pay a lot of taxes, but we pay for the healthcare. And so we don't have to like put out our credit card every time we go and see our family doctor. So I think that's a huge benefit. And I just wanted to take that one and get that one off the board. So it's our free /social /tax funded healthcare.
I think free healthcare. It's a good one. I think
Other
people might have
countries-
their opinions on the quality of the healthcare, but that's another story.
Yeah, other countries would think that's a perk of being Canadian for sure.
100%.
Yeah, I think that's kind of where I was going. That's where my mind was going there too. So
You're not going bankrupt because you had a heart attack. So, anyways, yeah,
You
good
just
pick.
go back
There we go.
when it comes tax season. Yeah.
So I'm going to go back to the food category, and I'm sticking with one of my favorites here, and that's the old butter tart. That's
nice.
your Canadian
choice.
food. You can't go wrong. I mean, hey, we Americans try the pecan pie, little pecan pie with the pecans. It's a lot of the same stuff, but it's not a butter tart. Butter tart festivals happen here. There's always one in Midland, Ontario, which is not a couple hours north of here. And it was, I think, the Pie Commission this year. I happened to see that the other day. The Pie Commission won their first ever butter tart, and they won like the national champion. So there's championships on butter tart themed festivals. Lots of different versions of this thing. And if you haven't had one, I will come here right now and I will feed you one because you can't go wrong.
I didn't even know there was a Canadian thing.
Yeah, very Canadian.
Yeah.
Very Canadian.
Very Canadian.
I don't know where it
Delicious.
was invented, but it's a Canadian thing. So my butter tart.
Good choice.
Mhm.
So your
I like it.
foods are off the board for you too. So
Okay.
John, Brad, you're up.
I'm gonna go with celebrity, and I'll go with Ryan Reynolds.
See, he's kind of a sports guy too. He was always a celebrity. Now he's a bit of a sports guy.
He's a
So,
little bit of a sports guy. He's funny, good looking,
Yeah.
charming,
charismatic.
Yeah.
Got one good movie genre, or not even movie genre. One good successful movie, and then it's funny. The other movies he's been in are not really like amazing.
Wait, are you
Like,
talking about his
Deadpool.
only good movie is
I
Van
don't know if
Wilder?
Frozen here, Deadpool. seems
I thought
to
you were
be
talking about
the
waiting.
hit.
That would
Handsome Man.
Deadpool. Oh, Deadpool. I thought. What about Van Wilder?
I said Chain. He's in. That's a funny movie.
Oh,
but
sorry.
he's not going to the Oscars for Van Wilder. You know.
I just finally saw Deadpool like a week ago for the first time.
Still haven't seen
and
it. Yeah.
it was
But,
good.
Great.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, it was good.
The
It was,
Wrexham show is supposed to be awesome.
Mhm.
It's on the.
He's a beauty.
But he just
yeah,
seems
I
like
can't
a
get
guy
over
you want to
waiting.
be around.
That's just the best movie. If you've ever
Very very good movie.
if you've ever been in a restaurant, worked in a restaurant, yeah.
Yeah, very good
Okay.
one. Okay, so we got two in a row here. I'm gonna take a celebrity. He's a legend. What can you say? I'm just gonna Terry Fox. Everyone knows him. They have a race run for charity every year for him. Yeah. What else can you say? Like, like if you talk to any Canadian, they're gonna know. Maybe not as universal, but who's picking the
He
winner
inspires
of this
people
draft?
to-
Canadians. So
Canadians
Yeah,
that's
true.
He's inspiring
yeah,
people.
it sounded like
to
seemed
donate.
like you had something to say there.
I'm not going to say anything about Terry Fox. No,
It sounds
no,
like you were gonna go against.
no. I didn't even have him on my list, but that's not saying he's not the man. the office I used to work in, we had like a big Terry Fox like statue as soon as you walk in.
Nice.
Because he ran for the charity I used to work for. So
Amazing. So my next picks to start the third round, I think perks of being Canadian, and that is just friendlier for friendlier people from world travel. So because of our being known as nice people, when you're going places and they find out you're Canadian, it's a breath of fresh air. I know when we were on our honeymoon in Italy, someone thought we were American, and I said, "Oh no, we're from Canada," and immediately like their eyes lit up, like it was a much better situation. So
Definitely.
I'm gonna say friendlier world travel.
I've heard people who travel you're supposed to put like a Canadian flag on your backpack or something like that, right?
I've heard Americans even do that. Americans will put the Canadian flag on their backpack just so that they don't get robbed or shanked. I was in England one time and just riding the subway, just getting my ticket for the London Underground, and I think we were struggling a little bit because it was sort of new. And well-dressed woman came up and said, "I'm sorry, are you American?" And they said, and we said, "No, we're Canadian." And she was just like, "Oh, thank goodness!" Like just like the funniest kind of thing. Like I don't know why. Like, oh, you're dressed a lot better than Americans are. I guess I should have guessed. But we get a lot of credit around the world for just our manners. So
I'm gonna go with a place to go, and I feel like in Canada, obviously there is so many options for this, but I'm gonna try to go
choose
someplace.
Prince Edward County, then you're fired.
What's it gonna be?
You got it. Right?
I'm gonna go with Prince Edward Island. Island. I haven't been. I mean, it's tough to take Prince Edward County, I guess. Which would be nice. It's a nice place. Don't get me wrong. Maybe one of you guys will. I don't want tip picks here, but PEI is a special place in my opinion, and it's relaxed and there's good golf and there's good food. I love it there.
All right, John, you got two in a row. Prince Edward County off the board for
Prince Edward Island off the board.
Prince Edward County still there.
Prince Edward County is still on the board.
I'm going to go place. I'm going to go back to Banff, Alberta, because I would like to go back to Banff, Alberta. Beautiful, beautiful place. I was there in the summer a few years ago, and I would like to go back during the winter. But I think the summer in Banff is just like there's always something to do. There's always something to see. Even if you're not doing anything, there's still things that you can just kind of go and look at. Getting there is amazing. Driving through it, just seeing the animals and things like that. I think Banff, Alberta is one of the best. And I'm usually a bit of a homer. Like I kind of like sticking around in Ontario, but I think in this case, Banff is just like, you can't miss it. I think everybody has to see Banff, Alberta, and some of the surrounding areas are actually all the surrounding areas are very nice too. I'm not going to mention them, but
please don't.
Nope. And they are. There's a lot of them that are nearby, and you can kind of go to a few places while you're out there. Maybe rent a car and drive around Alberta, but Banff, Alberta
sounds awesome.
We called it Banff, but
Banff.
Yeah, very very popular swanky Banff. All right, you got another one in a row here, John.
This is going to be the celebrity category, and I think I'm going to go with another Fox, not your Fox. I don't know if they're related Foxes, but I'm going Michael J. Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because I'm a huge Back to the Future fan, but also just I think he's an inspiration as well. Like this is another guy who inspires millions and millions of people to donate to research Parkinson's and his kind of battle with that he hid for a very long time.
Public battle too, though. Like he's the face of it now, right?
He is now. He is. Well, back in those days, he was afraid. He would, put his hands in his pockets. You see him doing that a lot on whatever in the movies and various shows. Like he, has his one hand in his pocket because of the tremors a little bit. So I think Michael J. Fox is a model Canadian, and we should all be very proud of what he's done. And if you've donated to that cause, you should be proud of what you've done. So. Michael J. Fox.
What was that show? It was Spin City. Am I saying it right? Spin City. I like that one.
I think he was. Yeah, that was the one. That was the.
I
other
liked
one.
it so much.
Family
You
Ties
remembered the name.
I didn't even realize him and Terry Fox were cousins either, which is kind of crazy.
Are they actually? That I didn't even know. I was just another Fox. No. Oh, they're not.
John.
Are you serious? I don't know. I just thought
guy just led you down a street that you had no business going.
We entertain and we inform. I didn't realize he was trying to. So anyway, Michael J. Fox.
I think I can take either or John hasn't taken an athlete yet, has he?
I have not.
Okay, I'm gonna take an athlete, which this might be just a Brad thing, but this by my second favorite athlete, Canadian anyways, is Steve Nash. That's my guy. I love his story, going to a small college, then coming up through the NBA, becoming the MVP. Should have been 3 in a row. Should have been. He got robbed, but he's the man. Yeah, I guess I got 2 soccer guys too, kind of. Ryan Reynolds, Steve Nash, big soccer guys too.
Could have chosen another athlete that's a big soccer guy. Anyway, so I got 2 in a row here to finish up. Steve Nash, good pick. What a head of lettuce he had when he was playing. Like, he just stood out like a mop. But when you're the best in the league 2 years in a row, arguably 3, you can do what you want. So.
Imagine him in the current NBA. Side note, like, he was one of the best shooters in the league. But back when he was playing, they didn't take threes the same way they're taking them now.
Oh, true. Yeah. So you're saying he was ahead of his time?
100%.
But maybe he inspired a Steph Curry-esque
coach. Steph Curry. They brought him in. They brought him in when Steph Curry was starting to come up.
Didn't go well. So I got to do a food and I need a place. So I'm going to start with food and I'm going to take maple syrup.
That's a food or beverage.
Yeah, I was thinking more of a sauce. I was thinking that's a sauce.
Well, I mean, snacks in there too. It's just multifunctional. So
yeah,
I haven't had a veto in a while. You're welcome to if that's something that upsets you. But I'm going to take...
maple syrup is very Canadian. That's
and it just gets used on a bunch of things. I think it's going to play well in the draft. And then
it'll play well.
Places to go, and I'm no doubt taking Whistler. I found that was like Banff, but good for all seasons, and you're so close to Vancouver, you're close to the ocean. The drive there was incredible. That was one where when we were there, it was something that like you could tell was special. So that's close and near and dear to me. So I'm gonna take Whistler.
I have not been there. I would like to. But I've heard really good things about it. Expensive place to live.
Yeah. Very expensive, even to visit. Like, it's not cheap, which that part sucked because I was broke as a joke when I was there. But it was great. Great.
Looked cool when the Olympics were out there.
Actually, that's when I was there. Was just after the Olympics. So seeing the bobsleigh and that kind of stuff, and peak to peak, we did the zip lining stuff. It was pretty cool.
Oh, I've been to Peak and Peak. Yeah.
Peak and Peak, yeah, pretty close. Like, it's very comparable, yeah.
Last pick. Okay, so perks. I found the Perks of Canada one a little bit like the trickier one of them all, but this is the one I took, having 4 seasons. Okay. I love that about being in Canada. Like, we actually have a winter, we have spring, summer, fall. We got it all.
Yeah. That could be your most authentic pick, and I actually really like that because I did a lot of searches, did not do ChatGPT. So if that's where it came from, then
I wrote that one down.
And it is something, I think having distinct seasons really makes you appreciate when you're not in them anymore. So winter, nice to have. It's a little long, but when you're out of it, it makes you appreciate spring and summer that much more. And then you still get all the perks of winter. So
spring golf season, awesome because you're excited to golf. Summer golf season, awesome because the days can be a little longer.
I'll golf
fall golf season, amazing. And you're usually better in your game. Winter, you're gonna have to find some simulators. Yeah. It is what it is. Christmas is great.
Up everywhere though.
Yeah. And then you might get some golf clubs for Christmas, and then you're ready for the spring again.
Yeah.
That you get this whole thing down to a science.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
This is what matters.
Put a lot of thought into that. Steve Nash and golf. That's
calendar is just like.
All right, Johnny. Last pick. It's me. Last but not least.
It's so I'm doing. So this is my athlete pick here too.
Yeah.
There's so many.
I know you've been chomping at the bit for.
I can't believe. Surprise! I'm
going to show you. I'm going to show you a picture, and you're going to know exactly who it is by this picture too, because it's a picture of me and this person. So it's somebody who I've actually met, and it's somebody who I like, and it's this gentleman right here.
Oh,
you hear that, boy? That's your beauty. That's Wendell.
Wendell Clark. For those just listening,
met Wendell Clark and John Without a Beard. Back in the day. So that was my previous life, and Wendell. So Wendell, he's a beauty. He's a scrapper, and he's stuck around with the Leafs organization, does a lot of charitable stuff these days. Part of the Alumni Association, and just everybody kind of gravitated. He had a lot of heart, played with a lot of heart, and still does show that. So I think he's just one of the greatest Canadian athletes.
There you go. So let's recap this before we
I would never have even considered Wendell Clark.
Wendell wasn't on there.
Right? No way.
But you're not a Toronto hockey guy.
I'm not a Toronto guy, but even then, I'm going with Doug.
Well, really? Yeah, same generation. It was a toss up. I'm like,
Doug. You're Doug boy. All right. So team 1, Scott. We have Wayne Gretzky as the athlete, Terry Fox celebrity. Celebrity Perk is being Friendlier World Travel. Food Maple Syrup Place Whistler. Brad Team 2 is Food Poutine. Celebrity Ryan Reynolds. Place is PEI. Athlete Steve Nash. Perk is 4 full seasons. And then Johnny is Healthcare, Butter Tarts, Banff, Michael J. Fox, and Wendell Clark. What do we got on our draft room floor?
Ketchup chips, chips, all dressed
All
chips.
Dressed. Debated those ones.
Yeah, any kind of
sure.
Alberta beef. Steak. Steak's a good Canadian
Peameal
thing.
bacon.
Peameal bacon. I got Canadian whiskey on there too.
Yeah, Timbits, which I don't love, but they're popular.
I got beaver tails.
Oh,
Beaver tail.
That was a good play.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you choose? Oh, you got poutine though.
I got
You
poutine. I got
That's
poutine.
You're
That's
already
the better
blessed
one.
in the food category. All right, celebs. What do we got?
Oh man, Michael J. So Michael J. Ryan Reynolds was on my list too. Mike Myers, couple of Scarborough guys. Mike Myers, Jim Carrey, and Norm Macdonald. Norm Macdonald. A lot of people don't realize he's Canadian.
Nice.
He's dead now, unfortunately, but hysterical, world-class comedian. Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
So he was on my list.
I got Go ahead.
Go.
Astronaut. Who was the astronaut?
Yeah, Chris Hadfield. This is actually the school in Brooklyn here.
Mhm.
Drake Beebs,
There's a couple of
Don
good-
Cherry,
a couple Canadian
Seth
actors.
Rogen, Celine Dion.
Celine
On my
Dion.
list. Celine.
New Amazon Prime documentary on Celine.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming out soon. Yeah, I wouldn't mind checking that out.
I knew that I didn't write that many down, but I had the Beebs just like
you
like
got
Scott
it.
said. You got it.
got it.
Woodstock, right? Is it Woodstock he's from?
Stratford.
Stratford or Brantford? Stratford, because the great ones from Brantford.
Right.
Places to go.
Places to go. Niagara Falls, Algonquin Park, Whistler, you got Banff, I got Montreal. Montreal is just another place where I've kind of gone a couple times and I'd really like to go back there. Montreal is just a really cool city, great food and nice people.
Yeah, toss Toronto on the list. You can do anything out east, but I found PEI kind of checked that off. Lake Louise, deciding between Lake Louise and Moraine Lake, which is kind of Banffy, but
Moraine
I went
Lake
Whistler.
Moraine Lake's gorgeous. Went
It's
there.
one of my
too,
favorite
when I went
places
there.
I've been. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I took Tweed, Sterling, Wellington, Picton, Deserano.
Quinny
Took
Mall.
the,
Trenton, Colburn.
Trenton, Madoc, Marmor,
Perfect.
Bancroft.
Yes. Everything between here and Kingston, basically.
Cabot. I had
Sure.
Cabot on the list, but I'm
Big Apple. I went to the Big Apple.
And then,
the Big Apple. Yeah, we forgot the Big Apple.
The Big Apple. I went to the Big Apple the other day. Yeah, I went to the Big Apple.
There you go. So athletes.
Athletes. Yeah. Donovan Bailey.
That was
Yeah.
that was big on
Donovan
the list.
Bailey. Nat Spooner.
Bobby
Natalie
Orr.
Spooner. Yeah, Bobby
Spooner,
Orr.
yeah.
Natalie Spooner. A lot of
Spitting
hockey
kid.
players.
I had SGA, right? Shea Gilgeous Alexander. That's a basketball player, John.
I thought it was a
Golf Mike Weir, not on my list.
No.
Sid, obviously I had Sid though.
Yeah.
Sid the
Nick
Kid.
Taylor.
Okay.
Corey Connors before Nick Taylor. And then the last one was Perks, which we were struggling with Perks.
Yeah, right. The
High
scenery,
real
the
estate
nature.
costs and
High real estate, yeah. The scenery, the nature, and clean water in some of the country, and unfortunately not clean water in other parts of the country. So while clean water might have been on my list, it's a big freaking deal here in Canada right now. So let's work on that.
Yeah. The only one I had for Perks in Canada was that Royal LePage is here, the Canada's biggest real estate brand. So
Sure. Yeah. The legal drinking age is 19. You know, it's a lot of places the legal drinking age is 21 or more, and now in Canada, in most provinces, it's 19, as opposed to older. So
18 in Quebec,
18
right?
in Quebec.
Is that still?
18.
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a fun time.
let's end this. See you later, guys.
Okay.
See you next episode. Have a good one.
Pleasure talking with you.
You've been listening to the Drafting Offers Podcast. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Drafting Offers Podcast and vote for this week's draft champ. That's also how you can get directly in touch with us if you have any questions about this week's show. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and catch every episode on Spotify. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we can't wait for you to join us again for another episode of the Drafting Offers Podcast.